to find out why there has been a delay in the takeoff of the Abuja Film Village. I would respectfully request the keynote speaker to be able to give us this information, because for a very long time now, we have been interacting with the Abuja Film Village, and it hasn't taken off. Is it a problem of funding? Is it a problem of the know-how? What is the reason why it has not taken off? I think one of the most important elements for the success of this initiative, which is very brilliant, and I think also is going to contribute very, very significantly to the development of the Nigerian film industry. I thank you, sir, for the initiative. But we need to know, we need to be able to develop partnerships. That is the first and most important step. And again, I would like to congratulate the FCTA for the bold step in developing this partnership with the Nigerian Film Corporation, which indeed is the government film producer. It is a government agency that is actually responsible at this point in time for the film industry. The Census Board is just to classify the films that are produced. But the Nigerian Film Corporation, by the nature of its mandate, is very, very well and better positioned. And so FCTA has taken the most important step by partnering with the Nigerian Film Corporation and supporting Zuma Film Festival. The next level of partnership is also to partner with the industry itself, which is structured in some ways through guilds, associations, through individual filmmakers. So the Abuja Film Village has to develop this second level of partnership. My second, because I'm trying to now identify the key elements that are critical and necessary for the success of the Abuja Film Village. The second element is that we must also move from being reactive to being proactive. For instance, we should not behave like a typical retailer, for instance, who just goes to his shop and places his goods there. He does not undertake or engage in any marketing activity. If you go to the major film festivals in the world, like the Cannes Film Festival, the Berlin Film Festival, even the American Film Market, all the festivals in the world, you will see different cities. They are, in fact, you begin to wonder whether they are filmmakers. You will see Dubai, you will see Emirates, you will see Japan. They come there with big brochure, pictures of the locations in that place with the incentives that are available to market their cities. Because they know, just like us, that when you shoot a film in a place, in fact, the global trend now, before now, cities used to issue film permits for which you pay. You pay to the municipality, you pay per crew, you pay for all those things. But globally now, nobody charges money for film permits anymore. Why? Because there has been regular and constant analysis of the impact of a film production in a city. You find out that when you have a major production in a city, first and foremost, there is a very marked increase in the occupancy rates in the hotels. You can see occupancy rate moving from maybe 20% to 100%. As a matter of fact, even for film festivals, in a city like Cannes, like we have said repeatedly here, Cannes Film Festival this year is starting from 17th of May. You can't even get a room now. I challenge you to go online. You cannot get a room in the immediate area of the Crochet, the Palais, the film, where you can't get a room. If this is Cannes, you cannot get a room within 1,000 meters of this place, except you're willing to pay maybe 2,000 euro a night. It's impossible. But off-season, those same hotels will be available for maybe 200 euro. If you want to book the Majestic, which is the biggest hotel in Cannes, it is directly opposite the beach. It is nothing less than 2,000 euro. It's not even available because all the big Hollywood studios, they have booked the Majestic since January. Once it ends on the 27th or thereabout this month, everybody books. So this is the impact. Secondly, you look at the impact of people who benefit. For instance, and of course we're working closely with Zuma, by next year, we expect to get an exception so that you can have small retailers around this environment. You see people, the students complaining that they want to eat, there's nowhere to eat. Ideally, if we want to have a proper festival environment, we will get vendors, there will be activity. And mind you, sir, in a proper production film environment, because I'm classifying film festival under, it's still part of the production process, even if it's not film production. There are other things. If you say production, it's not just one thing that happens. There will be cultural activity, different things. So now, so you have the economic impact, you have the room occupancy rate, you have vendors, you have skill acquisition, technology transfer, because the youth in the FCT, they come and mingle with producers, they will come and be discovered, because when you're shooting a film, you can have a very big plan. You cast people for those roles. My brother, my sisters, when you want to shoot, it's a different game. My younger brother I can tell you more. When you want to shoot, you find out that, in fact, I overheard my friend Brian complaining of some of the artists that were expected to come. They didn't come. What do you do? In these instances, as soon as the production, I'll tell my children there, the boys, the young ones there, but please remove that uniform. Come and wear it and act the role. This is the reality. Because if every other element is in place and it's just a human being that is not there, you must improvise. Otherwise, the cost will be very high. So there are so many benefits. And then at the end of the day, you look at the money that this thing adds to the economy of that place. When you have major production taking place, the next thing is that you see the elements of distribution. Cinemas. In 2 years alone, Lagos State made over 500 million naira from the film industry, from the tax, entertainment tax, because in Lagos State, there's a 5% entertainment tax. So we are saying that there's direct financial benefit in this form of activities. So how is Lagos State coping? Lagos State created a film fund of 1 billion. As of 2 weeks ago, they paid out 200 million of that money. There is still 800 million waiting for us. All right? So it will not be enough to build the film village. How are you going to attract people? So I said, first of all, you need to market the film village. You need to have, these are all bundles of what to call production incentives. At times, it goes beyond cash. You can decide to say, look, if you come to shoot in FCT, we will give you hotel rooms to shoot. Because if you look at it, some of the things you would like to charge us, if we come and shoot, you make more when you have a major production. I can tell you, sir, why is Lagos the most popular city in Nigeria today? Everybody in the world now knows the yellow color of Lagos taxis. So even the film productions, activities that the film village will attract, will lead to the popularity, increasing popularity of Abuja as a tourism destination. So you're tapping into not just the benefits of cinema, but also tourism. So it's a win-win-win situation for everybody. And mind you, please, in the construction of this film village, you also, I'm happy I saw a theme park, a zoo, all sorts of things. If you go to some of the major cinema complexes in the world, it's not just films that you see there. You can see small zoo, you see small rabbits and peacock running around. So on Sundays, families can bring their children to come to those places. So these are part of the infrastructure. Of course, you know that Abuja is one of the most secure places in this country. I've always told people that the only two places I can live in Nigeria, in Abuja and Lagos. I cannot live anywhere else. And I know that goes for many people. Some people will say, why? How? I say, because it's not just safety. Assuming I need something, how far would I need to go? Okay? Whatever I need. Assuming you need special things. Maybe there are people who use special kind of toothpaste, special kind of soap. Will you see it in your village? This is the reality. You stay where you be comfortable. And so now, okay, I've mentioned marketing. So there are other factors too. You have mentioned location, which is quite correct. How did Hollywood develop? Initially, at the turn of the century, when cinema was discovered, they were in New York and other places, but there were challenges. Because Edison had a patent to the film equipment, they were arresting them. So we were looking for where to run to. And then discovered that in going to Hollywood, which was very far from New York, it's the other side of America, one, they'll be able to escape from the law. Two, they found out that Hollywood, which is a suburb of Los Angeles, had different types of locations. You can see mountains, you can see beach, you can see urban centers. Abuja has these things. Even though you don't have the ocean, you have the lakes, you have water around, which can still pass for a beach. So you need to have the right locations. Abuja has it. You need to create the funding mechanism. FCTT has to be able to work closely with us, so develop a package of incentives, including funding, even if the initial period. And like I always tell my colleagues, there is no time that funding can never be enough. And there is no time that everybody will get funded. Because anything that is competitive cannot be for everybody. This is the truth of the matter. So whatever budget is able to be created will to attract that initial, so that will give you the first mover advantage. You need the human capital. Like Mr. Yaba that is here. You need the professionals who are very skilled. But of course, in discussing these elements, some are offshore, some are onshore, some are offshore. But the interesting thing is that when it comes to the film business, you can always bring from somewhere. You need the human capital that will execute those projects. You need people that have the skills to bring, and of course, like I said, you can bring them, but it's a bit more expensive. But I have noted that in designing the film village, there is provision for training. So because for a producer, he'll ask himself, do I have to fly in 100% of my crew? If I can go somewhere and I only need to bring in 10% of the crew, obviously it will make my budget more manageable. That means instead of spending maybe 10 million, if I come to Abuja and shoot, I'll end up spending 2 million. Because I forget that, film is not just entertainment, it's also a business. Like Professor Kwasi rightly noted, that the business element is the most important vector in the film process. Because we all want to make a film, but let me tell you, making a film is very difficult because you need funding. Distributing that film is more difficult. But I can tell you, the most difficult thing is making back your money from that film. Because if you don't make back your money, you cannot make another film. There is no investor, except your father who has too much money to throw away, that will keep giving you money for a loss-making venture. These are fundamentals of business. If these elements are in place, you will get funding. Now, we've talked about support. And of course, we will now also need to support other areas. You need the production companies that will have the right equipment. For the same reason that I mentioned, that if I need a certain type of equipment, I will go to where I can get it locally, so I don't have to come and carry it from America or from Lagos. So as we are planning, we need to have budgets that will enable the stimulation of production equipment companies, post-production companies, other distribution companies, distribution of films, and a lot of other things. So in summary, what I have tried to do, like I said, is look at how, not why, Abuja can become a destination for films. I would like to thank you for listening to me this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chikwendu. Mr. Iyaba, please, can you react to that? Mr. Malam Abdul Karim, one of our discussants, stepped in some minutes ago. Please come upstage, sir.
All protocols duly observed. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, and thank you, the keynote speaker. Thank you, my very erudite colleague and big brother in the industry. This is actually the first time I'm sitting with him like this in a panel. All right, we are trying to see how we can improve filmmaking in Abuja. Now, when you take a production to any place, the value chain that makes so much money can never be overemphasized. And the beauty of it is that those of you who watch films at home only know and see the people that we put as end credits, which have to do with the actors and the crew members. But the truth about the matter is, almost every business chain in a city will benefit when there's a production process or when Abuja actually becomes a hub for filmmaking. I'll give an instance. Once there's a production here, the airports, the planes are going to make so much money. And with special thanks to our celebrities right now, they only fly first class. And first class ticket goes for as much as 150,000 naira. Now, when you land at the airport taxi that will pick you up from the airport to the desired location, the desired hotel where you're going to stay, is actually going to make money. How much is the transport fare from the airport to where you're going to? When you come on location, there are people we call welfare officers. Welfare officers make sure they feed people throughout the production time. Costumiers make money. Tailor people make money. Carpenters make money. Agboros in the park make money. Because when you go out to shoot, they'll definitely come to tell you that, okay, now we get this ground. So we actually employ both the professionals and the non-professionals. So I think this is a very welcome development, trying to see how we can make Abuja the next film hub in Nigeria. I tell people who care to listen Abuja is actually the safest place in Nigeria right now. You can take it to the bank and you will make so much money from it. Let me give you an analysis. During the last NSAS brouhaha, Abuja actually had the smallest damage that was done to physical facilities in the country and other things. But it wasn't the same case with other states in the federation like Calabar, where I actually come from. We're talking about Tinapa right now. My elder brother here mentioned about Tinapa. When they wrecked Tinapa, they even stole plus the rock carpet. As I speak to you right now, there used to be a hotel in Tinapa called Lakeside Hotel. I shot a movie in Calabar last year, Bakassi. And guess what? Tinapa is where we use for an abandoned building for militants. It is actually that bad. And that was a place that they spent so much humongous budget to see how they can raise it. But I think part of what killed that vision was the governments of the day. Donald Duke, who was the first governor who actually designed that plan, left. And when he left, the next person, who was Lie Limoke, did not really want to continue with some of those dreams. And after that, we had issues with that. Then when our digital governor, Professor Benayade, came on board, he actually forgot it. And the place is actually a shadow of itself right now. What we are praying for is, with this partnership right now, we are really craving and begging that it should not just end with this administration, but it's something that should continue. What I'm trying to say, what I'm saying is that I shot my first film in Abuja in 2011 after NYC, and it was actually an action series for Nigerian Customs Service. We shot for 8 months, and in that 8 months, we employed majority of our crew members were even students from NFI. My cinematographer, my light, my gaffer, and even majority of the crew were all from NFI. And we did this project, and I can tell you categorically that most of these people that we use there are celebrated crew members right now. So Abuja is actually the next place to be. I can also tell you that there's something we call epic films, in Nigerian language, epic films and glamour film. Abuja is one place where you actually don't need to travel too far to get an epic location. For those of you who know Gishiri very well in Abuja here, Gishiri, what divides Gishiri and Maitama is actually a road. And on that Gishiri part is where you can actually have epic buildings to shoot an epic film. Unlike Lagos, for you to shoot an epic film, you actually need to travel from the main line to Epe, Oraja, and Co. And that's why a lot of people have actually shifted there right now, so that it's possible for them to shoot everything in the same place. But Abuja is not like that. You travel from here, before you travel like 5 kilometers, you have an epic. Another 5 kilometers, you have a modern house. So I'm actually urging that most of our filmmakers should begin to see this place as the next destination to make films. But we have our own major challenges, which is actually one of the things I really want us to look at. Shooting in Abuja is actually more expensive than shooting in any other place in Nigeria. I have shot films in Abuja, I have shot films in Lagos, I've shot in Calabar, I've shot in Asaba, I've shot in Enugu. So I can tell you for free. And that is because we have most of the bankable actors domiciled in Lagos and Asaba. How can we begin to make those bankable actors now come over here in Abuja to live, so that we don't actually need to travel all the way to Lagos to bring them? You call an actor in Lagos to film for you, he charges you 2 million. But you tell the actor, okay, guy, you're shooting in Abuja, and he tells you you're going to pay me 5 million naira. Now, who bears that responsibility? You tell them now, okay, can you fly economy? They say no, they won't fly economy, they'll have to fly business class. But when you're shooting in Lagos, you even need to put them in hotels. They come from their houses, shoot the film, and they'll even drive their cars and go back to their places of residence. But here in Abuja, we have to fly them home, and we are already we're actually paying double of what we're actually not supposed to pay, and that's because they look at it as convenience, and some of them, try to see how they can juggle around production sets. They could, I mean, in in Asaba, for instance, you have two productions going up in one particular one particular plaza, and this person is one producer is upstairs, the other one is downstairs. You pull your shirt and do master shot in upstairs. You pull your shirt and come and do. So now when they now look at it, that if they stay in their location in Asaba or Lagos, they can actually make more money. But if you bring them from Lagos to Abuja now, and they come here, the whole week they cannot make money. So at the end of the day, you find out that the producer here now bears the burden. So now how do we now try to see how we can encourage such producers? Because if I take ₦1 million and go to Asaba, I can actually shoot a very good film comfortably, very, very well. You have an actor now who is like a friend to you, like, guy, please, come and show me love, come and assist me. He can quietly come and assist you for a very low fee in Asaba, where the movie is. But if you tell the person, okay, come and assist me alone, you're going to pay nothing less than 500,000. You're paying 500,000 naira for him, and he's still seeing it that, now help him, come help you. Okay, I'm going to break it down. He says, okay, I'm coming to help you. You fly him business class. Business class to and fro, how much be that? 300,000 naira. In they can't help you. He now tells you that the hotel where I go sleep, it has to be a particular hotel. Now help has not charged you. It's free of charge. At the end of the day, you find out that the Abuja producer has spent 500,000 naira and it is still come and help me. So we should really, really look into it. I actually want to use the opportunity to thank a couple of directors and producers who are making films in Abuja. It's actually not easy. I'm telling you, because I've shot with my own money. I've done government-funded projects too. It is actually really, really challenging. So let us really try to see how we can support these filmmakers in Abuja, and also encourage other producers to come. Because if a producer sits down in Asaba and tells himself that with ₦1 million I can do this thing easily here, why now should I move to Abuja, where I'm going to spend almost times 10 or times 5? Those are the things we really need to put into perspective. If not, we are still going to have these challenges. But the beauty of it all is, if you go around and see any movie that is being shot in Abuja, there's some class about our movies. Abuja films have this particular class. In the girls, they take rate us. They look us like, say, we be Hollywood filmmakers, so to speak, and not be like, say, we don't make any kind of films. We do very top-notch films. I've been opportune to shoot for the Nigerian Customs Service. I've been opportune to shoot for the Nigerian Police Force. I've been opportune to shoot for National NYC. I did a movie for NYC called The Call to Service. These are very top-notch films with best of the A-class actors. So Abuja can actually still make very good films. If you want to do epic, go to Buhari here. They are beautiful, fantastic, epic houses. Go to Gishiri, go to Kuje. Even in beside Duse, you see real thatch houses. So you actually don't need to go too far to get what you want. So I really want to thank the organizers of this program and say that we are appreciative, and thank you, Madam MD, for Abuja Film Village. Just as my elder brother said, that film village, we don't hear them before they even born us. We don't hear them well. We are ready to work with you, and we know and we heard that I've come to see the cinema at Arts and Culture. We can actually transform that place and make it, even if it's a weekly screening, viewing. There are a lot of producers in this town. We have the best hands right now. As I speak to you right now, by a couple of weeks, almost 2 major projects are coming to Abuja. So if all of these mechanisms are put into place, I tell you something, the economy of Abuja is actually going to grow further than it should be. And there are a lot of neighboring villages here. People from Nasarawa can come over, people from Niger State can come, and a couple of other things. So please, my producers and directors everywhere, wherever you are, we are here in Abuja to receive you. Before I off the mic, let me say there's something I've been doing before we now knew that FCTA can actually really partner with us like this. When any filmmaker comes to shoot in Abuja, because I'm the chairman directors guild, What I do is I drive down there and tell you, welcome to Abuja. What are the challenges that you have? What is it that you think I can do to assist you? And we've been helping a lot of them from even their casting, because they actually don't know everybody here. We help them in casting. We help them to source for locations, because we pay heavily for all of these things. So let us see how government can also enter with partnerships with most of these hotels, because most of our films we film in hotels. We live in hotels and film in hotels. Nanette Sud, a few years ago, Nanette Sud had an agreement with Actors Guild of Nigeria. A suit in Nanette Sud is 60,000 naira. But agent entered into an agreement with them that anybody who comes to sleep in Nanette, who is an agent member, will pay only 13,000 naira. That thing actually helped to grow Nanette Sud very well. I think we should look for a way and see how we can create that mechanism too. And I think another thing that could also help is if we can model the NHIS system of health. It's really working for the health sector. Is it a way we can also do that for the movie industry? Because we actually pay so much for accommodation. We actually pay so much. The last film we shot in Enugu, we paid 4 million naira to accommodate actors alone for 2 weeks. You understand? Imagine taking some percentage from 4 million naira to help a producer. It's actually going to go a long way. It tells me now that, okay, FCTA should enter with an agreement sort of with hotels. That, okay, if anybody comes to shoot in Abuja, they should come to your office. Okay, we day here, we need a place to stay for XYZ number of days. Is it possible for them to get a letter from this office, take them to that hotel and say, okay, this person is recognized, he's coming to help our industry here. Can you give them a rebate? That will actually go a long way. Finally, in Colorado, where I went to school, Denver, what they do in Colorado is if any producer comes to shoot in Colorado, they will give you back 30% of your total budget. They will just give you 30% of whatever budget you have, but on condition that you're going to employ almost all the cast and crew from that location. You're not expected to come with anybody except, apart from the A-list, you can come with the A-list and some other very instrumental A-list crew members. But every other person is going to be hired from that place. And I tell you, hotels will make money. The economy generally is going to improve. Thank you very much for my time, and God bless you all.
So thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Iyaba, for that kind intervention. I don't know whether, Mr. Speaker, you want to react to the issues raised, or we take Abdul Karim before you react, because Mr. Madu Chikwendu had raised the issue of the non-takeoff of Abuja Film Village, and Mr. Iyaba had raised also some issues with regards to maybe Abuja Film Village partnering with hoteliers and other critical stakeholders in order to upscale filming activities in Abuja, and whether you quickly react to that now. Okay, let's take Abdul Karim. Okay, Madam Abdul Karim, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to make my own contribution based on visits that I have done to gone to some studios in Morocco. Morocco have 2 large production studios, one Atlas and the other is, when I remember the name I will tell you. But what it is these 2 studios have a lot that the Abuja International Film Village should learn from. What are the facilities there? Mainly, the facilities there includes accommodation in the first instance. Whether you are a crew member or you are a cast, you will have accommodation. And they have categorized the levels of accommodations that you can get there, from 2-star, 3-star, 4-star to 5-star levels. So I will expect if Abuja International Film Village is going to take up, they should consider very seriously the issue of accommodation. What Emma has said about the reduction of film budget from lodging and feeding alone will go a long way in making things easy. And secondly, if you have accommodation right there at the village, what it means is that you have location around the place and you are residing over there, the logistics of movement has been drastically reduced. So this is what note one about these studios in Morocco. And by the way, as at 2019 that I was there, they have shot about 100 Hollywood movies in the two studios. What does that mean? It simply means that these 100 productions have brought in American dollars into that locality, and it has been distributed in the economy of Morocco. And they are now listing it as one of the sectors that contribute to the gross domestic product of Morocco. So this is one thing that I think the Abuja International Film Village should take note of. Secondly, the issue of developing artisans within Morocco is unbelievable. When you go to, I have been to about 16 countries in my life, but I can tell you I have never seen a neater city than Rabat in Morocco. And when you look at even their street lights, it's artistically done. You go to any of their hotels, the artistic flair that you'll be confronted with is huge. And that is deliberately done because the artisans that will feed into a film production have graduated into industries that are servicing the whole nation in terms of artistic value. So the multiplier effect there is the crew that you can get in Morocco locally, the artisans, they are of A class. You can take them anywhere in the world and they can pass. For artisans that can service not only the film subsector, but also the economic subsector. So if Abuja is trying to be a film hub, I think there should be a deliberate attempt to ensure that you synergize with the National Council for Arts and Culture. Why? Because that is the domicile government agency that is responsible for developing the arts and artifacts of Nigeria. When you do that, it fits into the film sector nicely because if you are generating content, the content should reflect who you are and what culture you are from. And that is the significance of the artisans that are built locally. So that when I'm developing my content, I should be able to synergize with the available local artists that are there that can bring the Nigerian flair into the production. Because whether we like it or not, whether we know or not, the fact of the matter is that there is no greater Nigerian ambassador than Nollywood. None. I can tell you without any fear of contradiction. Because when Nweke Jr. was the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, he called us as stakeholders of this industry to now say, how can Nigeria chart a course to key into Nollywood? Because he has realized one thing. Wherever he went and was introduced as the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, the next thing he will be confronted with, they will mention Nigerian artists. Does he know them? They don't talk about the country, but they talk about the stars that we have made out of Nollywood. So that is when he said that government should not ignore Nollywood. And that was the basis upon which he was calling us to now discuss with that so that he can see how he can make us key into government's vision. So all I'm saying is our government should never seize the fact that Nollywood has done greatly for this country and is still an instrument that can sell us as a people and sell our culture to the outside world. So that is the Moroccan side of
studios that I have seen. At South Korea, I went to Seoul, and I was invited by the government of South Korea. 12 of us from across the world were invited specifically for the government to avail us with what they have so that we can be able to come back to our respective countries and promote their nation. And interestingly, because I was identified as a filmmaker, I was taken to Studio Cube. That's the name of the studio. That studio is amazingly designed. When you go there, in terms of shooting locations, you'll be warped because there are so many things that it will avail you. In fact, the environment enough, if you are a creative mind, you go in there, it's enough for it to generate story out of you so that you can make use of the environment. Everything that is required in terms of filming is made available there. And also, they keyed in with the issue of accommodation because the drive from the town that from Seoul to that place is 2 hours from Seoul. So if you get in there, you will be accommodated, and you will have artisans that are professional enough. In fact, a Netflix production was going on at that time that we visited the studio. So I asked, and this is specifically to the management of Abuja International Film Festival. I asked the general manager, I know that there is a bilateral relationship between your nation and Nigeria. Can we request that you help us to build something like this in our country, because we have an abundant project in Abuja International Film Village? And the guy was, of course, Nigeria can ask us anything. Let me tell you, Tapawa Balewa gave us money when we were very poor, and we have not forgotten. I told Lai Mohammed this thing, 2009 to 19. Up to now, there is no response from this government to make that request. So I'm challenging the FCTA administration to take up this, because it's an opportunity that if you use, you can be able to bring Studio Cube into that place, and it will be all the better for us. So this waiting time could be over by the time you make such a request. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you, Malam Abdul Karim, for that intervention. At this juncture, I would like the keynote speaker to respond to some of the salient issues raised by the discussants, particularly one, the non-takeoff of the Abuja Film Village, and to tell us also what they are doing with regards to partnership with service providers in Abuja City to cushion the effect of the cost of production of film in Abuja, as well as what is Abuja Film Village doing to provide the necessary infrastructural facilities in order to upscale filming activities in Abuja.
Thank you so much, my distinguished discussant. Some of the issues you have raised, actually the first discussant, I want to say that the reason what has impeded the Abuja Film Village from taking off is because there were some issues that were bordered on the continuum of previous ministers. The real visionary of that project, since the left, there were issues with fund capitalization of the. But I'm optimistic that with the new coming management that is going to take over Abuja Film Village, all those issues, gray area that you have highlighted, will be sorted out. We're already talking, and this film festival has given us opportunity to meet a lot of stakeholders, and I believe that from Monday there's going to be a lot of meeting with the stakeholders, and even prospective investors that we are hoping to partner with to make sure that we jumpstart that project. Every other issues that you have raised here, I've listened very attentive to them. This is what we are going to be discussing with the stakeholder. And I'm of the opinion that by the time we start meeting, we will take care of all this gray area. And the mandate given to us to build the film village, working with the stakeholders, will be actualized.
So thank you. At this juncture, I don't know if there is anybody with a question from the audience. We give you this opportunity to ask your question with regards to the topic of discussion today, Abuja as a film destination hub. Anyone with a question from the audience, please? Okay, please, you come forward. Any other person? Okay. All right.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I want to use this opportunity to thank Nigeria Film Cooperative. But let me go straight forward. I want to talk on the issue of Film Village. I want to ask this question. If we are talking of a film village, remember Abuja? Okay, let me come. Remember we have, what about if we are shooting a culture? We have Igbo culture, Yoruba, and Hausa culture. Assuming we are shooting an epic movie. When it comes to Enugu, and the reason, and I believe the reason why Enugu is a center or both Asaba, because I have shot in Enugu and Lagos, Asaba. I saw different. Like if you are shooting in Enugu, assuming maybe you are shooting an Igbo culture, Igbo setting, you will see everything there. Then, and because we are always from Lagos to East Enugu to shoot, or sometimes Asaba, because assuming maybe you are shooting an Igbo culture, maybe you need a Igbo, there's a river, stream, river, or Igbo houses, or these locations. Assuming maybe we use Abuja as an Igbo this thing, as a village this thing. Assuming maybe I'm shooting an Igbo culture now. Can we get all those locations like a Igbo houses and the locations and the rivers? We can't get it here. I believe, assuming maybe if you are shooting a glamour can be my suggestion is there is no how we can use here Abuja as a village. I believe Enugu or Asaba, I think is the best.
So thank you so much. We thank you for your opinion. Yes. Okay. All right.
You didn't say your name, but for the sake of explanations, when you are talking of a film village, and this is a Nigeria project, it's not an Abuja project. Abuja is the capital city of Nigeria. Therefore, a film village in Abuja is supposed to be a reflection of the 300 plus ethnic groups that we have in the country. That's what a film village is about. It's not about Igbo, it's not about Hausa, it's about every Nigerian. And what happens is Morocco is a Muslim country largely. But the best film that was shot on Jesus Christ was shot in that studio, one of the studios I went. If you go, the setting is there. And it won an award from a Muslim country shooting a Christian film because the environment was made right. So when you are talking of a film village, It's not a localized thing. No, 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 no. It's broader than that. You can even get cities around the world in that film village. So it's not talking about Igbo, Hausa. No, no, no. Nigeria as a whole, the world as a globe. That is what a film village is talking about. So the environment that it will create will make you to easily access locations that will be brought to you in one place that you can use. That's the idea of a film village, sir.
So thank you for that response. Okay, please come. Tell us your name and your question quickly.
Okay, my name is Uchabo. Two things. First is just to, it's kind of adversary, then second will be a question. First one is what we're discussing about Abuja now. I think Benin, that's Edo State, is doing something very similar, and I think I should share a little bit of it so that I can also help. Currently in Edo State, the government, through what they call the Edo Jobs, is trying to bring filmmakers to Edo State to make more films. In fact, I just left Edo where I went to make 2 films and then went straight to this place. One of the things they did is to create a kind of lodge. In fact, it was there before. Because it was not used, they took over the Edo Job took over the environment. So what they now do is when filmmakers come, that lodge is free of charge. You don't pay, so you don't need to even go to a hotel, so to say. So that's like the first incentive that attracted me to go there. But when I now got there, I have the responsibility of using 70% indigenous crew members, which means I had to provide job because that's the primary thing. So I just went there with a few key crew members. Then the rest I had to source from Edo State. And that is how they are creating jobs. So I think you should look into that. So the second thing now is, I heard when you said engaging stakeholders. Sir, it's a question and also an advice. Over the years in Nollywood, I've always had that word, engage stakeholders. Engage stakeholders. And when I see pictures, usually are, well, people who we don't see in the field all the time. I will advise, sir, in picking the stakeholders to engage, kindly ensure that there's a mixed breed. A mixed breed of the older people with their wisdom and the young people who are also facing series of challenges. Because what we notice in Nollywood, whenever you say you're engaging stakeholders, is you don't consider the very young people with their own challenges. You're always engaging the already known names without knowing that 60%, so to say, of people who are creating content on a daily basis are young people who don't have access to you. So please, I will advise to expand your consultation to include these young ones that will, probably that have been set up to take over the next phase of the industry. So, so my question now would be, considering what I've said that they do you have plans immediately? I'm not even talking about the film village. I'm talking about, because today's event is about how do you make Abuja film hub. I'm not even going to film village for now. I'm talking about as a way to jumpstart. Do you think there are a makeshift, because even where the Edo people are using is a makeshift lodge. Will you consider a makeshift arrangement that will spur filmmakers to come in immediately as a way of jumpstarting this, making Abuja a very strong creative hub? Do you have an immediate plan that, at least for incentive sake, let's say just say accommodation to jumpstart, so that we now can go back to our base and with the good news of, okay, Abuja has this. Producers, please come in immediately. Do you have that plans at all? Thank you very much.
Speaker.
I think I will give the opportunity to the resident filmmakers in Abuja to share their experience with us, to tell us, as I speak with you, I won't be sitting here to promise you that opportunity is available for now, because already we have filmmakers, resident filmmakers in Abuja. They have their experience I think you need to go through them, speak with them, they share their experience with you. That is why I was talking about the stakeholder. The stakeholder I'm speaking about is expanded. We have an open door policy, not just for the known people that you are talking about. You know, the stakeholder involves the young and the old. Just what we can do. Then we put this across to the government to see this idea, since we want to make it a destination, a hub, you know, a center for filming here now. We will now, like the Honorable Minister of State said yesterday, these are part of the incentives that you are looking forward to. So, but we need to meet now. We can't meet at the festival level. When the festival is over, you can now come over to our office. We'll sit down, then we'll talk more. Thank you. And Mr. Yaba, maybe you can add one or two things from your own experience.
Well, actually, part of my speech was actually on that challenge of accommodation. What my young friend is asking is if there is an immediate plan. Just as I mentioned to Mr. Madu now, Abuja Film Village, we are praying and hoping it comes as fast as possible. But that is actually, may we tell ourselves the truth. Abuja Film Village, they're not going to inaugurate them this year. Not even next year. So, in the interim, is there maybe one government lodge where they somewhere, anything where them fit convert, say okay, oh, bring crew, come put here. So that instead of spending 2 million in a hotel, I know that as I enter Abuja now, I call Ima, and they find accommodation I want shoot, I say come, make I call Mr. Victor, place there. He comes and we know that this one is a practitioner that is known, no be person where no one, they know they real. He now comes with his crew. There is a place for them to stay for 2 weeks and shoot their film and go, so that they go. They will now call another person and say, oh boy, accommodation there for free. I think that is what Mr. Uche is asking. He is not asking about Abuja Film Village. Is there any makeshift, any arrangements? Maybe, I think that's what he's saying. That so. Yeah. So, if there's any makeshift of, that's what Mr. Uche is trying to ask. But accommodation now our biggest problem.
Okay. Any other question, please? Okay, madam. Please, let's want to wrap up by 1 so that we can take the next session. Your name and your question, please.
Thank you very much. All protocols duly observed. My name is Mariam Ahmed Hamman. My question goes like this. Is there any provision for the film industry to make inclusion of intervention programs, like activities done in the grassroots? There are programs like the National Social Investment Program going on in Kwali, Abaja, and Kujeria Council, where poor and vulnerable households are being empowered in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management. Is there any need for those communities, like documentaries should be done? Because I think this will promote the real culture of the African globally. These communities, you find when you go in these rural communities, you find their cries, you find their pains, you find their sufferings. If these are brought into the film industry, I think it's going to showcase what is happening to the global community. And is there any collaboration with international organizations like the ECOWAS? Because there was a documentary I saw at Cote d'Ivoire that was after COVID immediately, where communities were being empowered by NGOs and governments, and people were also saying what they had gone through the COVID, and they were also saying what they found that the government helped them. I think this will go a long way, and this will attract other organizations like UN and other bodies that want to help. This will promote the Nigerian film industry. This will show the cultures of other rural communities across the country and impact to the global community. Thank you.
Thank you. Your statement is well noted. I know of interagency collaboration with regards to training programs and other collaborations. So I think it's outside the purview of this discussion here. At this hour, I would like to thank the speaker, Mr. Victor Shuaibu, and our distinguished discussants, Malang Abdul Karim Mohammed, a veteran filmmaker, and Mr. Emmanuel Iyaba, the chairman, DG and Abuja chapter, as well as one of our veteran filmmakers, Mr. Madu Chikwendu. Thank you so much for having you here today. We have come to the end of this session now. Before you go, sir, please, there's going to be a group photo here. A group photo. Cameraman, please. Where are the cameramen? So thank you so much. Without much wasting of time, in order for us to go back and have some rest before we come back for the closing ceremony of Zuma Film Festival 2022. The next session we have here today is a topic on examining the copyright of the film industry. Can there be a better protection regime? We want to sincerely apologize to our keynote speaker, an erudite professor of law from the University of Abuja, for starting this program late. I know he has been here and he has been patient, but we want to have him here. Before I call on him, I would like to kindly request the presence of Mr. Uche Agbo to come upstage as one of our discussants. Mr. Uche Agbo, Secretary DGN Abuja chapter. Also, I would like to call on Mr. Lancelot Imaswen, a veteran filmmaker from Edo State. He is here. Mr. Lancelot Imaswen. I would also like to call on Malang Sule Omar. I know he is here from Kano. Malang Sule Omar. Malang Sule Omar. Mr. Lancelot, I'm seeing you. Please come upstage. While our discussants prepare to come upstage, like I did say earlier, the topic we have today is examining the copyright of the film industry. Can there be a better protection regime? The keynote speaker of this session is Professor Kasim Waziri of the Faculty of Law, University of Abuja. University of Abuja is one of our premier universities in the country and is my alma mater. Please, I want us to give a warm clap to one of our professors in the University of Abuja. I therefore have this singular opportunity to call on Professor Kasim Waziri to present his paper without much waste of time so that we finish the session in good time. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, the organizers of this program, invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure and honor to stand before you to present this paper. Sorry, I'm booting. Sorry, just a minute, please. Yeah, thank you for your attention. I listened attentively to the first paper, very interesting. And anytime you leave your home to listen to lectures, you always learn. I thought I know much what is happening in the film industry, not knowing that there's a lot happening, and it's a world of its own. My paper is not about what is happening in the film industry per se. It is about how the filmmakers will be protected, because filmmaking is an intellectual endeavor. As such, it becomes a property that is owned. And as such, those who create that property should be able to benefit from creating that property, because they are creators. As such, in Nigeria, compared to other jurisdictions, someone mentioned Morocco, America, India, China, are we adequately protected? Are our filmmakers in the industry benefiting financially on their production? And that is what we want to know, and that is what brings about examining the copyright of the film industry in Nigeria. That film industry is classified here in Nigeria under copyright. As such, we want to look at if there can be a better protection. Our situation has come in a way where this is the only country where you see professors writing books without financial gain. You will see musicians releasing music without financial gains. So it is to filmmakers. There are many filmmakers who releases the films. Are they adequately protected by the laws of the land for them to benefit from their protection? And that is what I set out to do. As such, the first point of call, by way of introduction, is we have to understand what is copyright. Well, copyright is an act by which your creation, the law will protect you from your creation. If you look at the Copyright Act under section 6, 7, and 8, that is where it talks about what is copyright, and it describes what is copyright. And in the paper, I try to even bring what the judiciary has said about what the law has said about what is copyright. But copyright is there are a lot of areas that is covered by copyright: cinematography, artistry, filmmaking, name it, including what we call neighboring rights that are covered. And then what it is that where you produce a film, maybe let me be particular to the film industry, and you are the producer, what the copyright will trace in you is about the fixation and the originality. So that when a film is casted and it is brought in here, it is not copied from someone's work. Everything that is done, there is originality and the fixation, how to make it for people to be entertained or to make meaning to the world, it can be traced. that is the copyright that the law will protect. But we are going to look at it further than that as but I will try and be very brief with my lecture, ladies and gentlemen, because I think we are out of time. Now, as such, we will now going to look at the legal framework about copyright in Nigeria, or protecting the film, covering the film industry in Nigeria. That's the legal framework of the Nigerian film industry. Is many, because we have the laws and we have the regulations. The laws are like the Copyright Act, the Patent and Designs Act, and then the Trademarks Act. All these are the laws. Then again, we have international instruments. We have the Paris Convention, we have the Berne Convention, name it, which we are all signatories and which we have adequately domesticated. But again, let it be known that we are members of WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, and then we are members of the World Trade Organization. Now, that is very, very important for us to know. And then there are subsidiary regulations that have been made in order to maybe assist the regulation of the